Hi, hello, everyone. I am Dr. Chirag Mittal. I am a cornea, cataract, and refractive surgeon practicing at AM Vision Eye and Child Care, Delhi. So today I'll be discussing about few things on the event of World Sight Day, how to protect and take care of your eyes, and what are the routine eye ailments which you should be aware of so that you can consult your ophthalmologist and take adequate precautions regarding that. So I don't need to emphasize more how important eyes are to us because it's the most sensitive and important sensory organ which leads us to connect with others. It helps us making memories and those kind of things. So why World we celebrate and dedicate a day as a World Sight Day? Because it's an sort of an annual event where we sort of try to draw attention towards the amount of blindness that we have in the world and how by mere awareness we can reduce this blindness burden globally. So every year this is one day dedicated for it. This year we celebrated on 14th October in 2021. So it's important because if you see totally globally, around 2.2 billion people are suffering from blindness, and among them, almost 1 billion people are there which have preventable or curable causes of blindness. And if we see the scenario of India, about 2% population of India is relatively legally blind right now. And to alleviate that status, we need about a lakh transplant per annum. And right now we are just able to achieve about 25,000 cornea transplants. So in all, we need more awareness so that we could have more cornea donors, and so that more and more people could see once a person has a preventable and curable kind of blindness. So it's important to know what is the difference between sight and vision. Sight is just a physical form when an image is perceived by the eye, projected on the retina, and perceived. This is known as sight. This mechanism is known as sight. How the brain interprets it is known as vision. So vision is very important. Like we need both the components together so that a person can see. We should have this mechanism of eye intact so that an image can be converted to the retina, and then it could be transmitted to the brain. The cortical center, the brain center has to be activated in recognizing that kind of image. So a clear image from very early in the childhood is very important so that a person can see clearly throughout his life. So if we see the anatomy of the eye, the frontmost portion is the cornea. It's a transparent structure. It's also acts as a natural lens. Then second is another lens that is an intraocular crystalline lens. So these two structures transmit the light and focus on the retina. This red part, this is a layer which perceives the image. This image is then transmitted to the brain by this optic nerve. So any disease that affects all these four structures has a potential to cause blindness. The common problems we are going to discuss today are the common things like refractor, the issues where you need glasses, and the most common symptom these days, dry eye, digital eye strain. Almost everyone has that. And allergic conjunctivitis, something about color blindness and night blindness. These are the common eye problems that we have that we are going to discuss today. When we see age-wise, some problems are very common in childhood, and in adulthood, the problems are very much different. So in children, we are more concerned about lazy eye and myopia. We are going to discuss in a minute. Strabismus, known as squint, that is deviation of the eye, and ptosis, that is grouping of eyelids. So these are the three conditions which have to be noticed and corrected in childhood so that future vision of the child is intact. In older people, all of must have heard about presbyopia, that is need for reading glasses, cataract, glaucoma, age-related macular degeneration, and diabetic retinopathy. So we'll be touching upon all these points in subsequent slides. Myopia, this is the most common form of refractive error, or I could say this is the most common disease or a problem with due to which we use glasses. So this is a problem. This is known as nearsightedness. So near objects are visible, but far objects are not visible or are blurry. So these are very easily corrected by minus number glasses, so which are given after we do a thorough checkup of the eye. Hyperopia is the second form of refractive error. These even the near vision is blurred as the distance one. Usually you must have seen or you must have noticed that some people get plus number glasses. So this is a treatment or a remedy for hyperopic glasses. In both the cases, you have blurring of the vision for different distances. Amblyopia. Amblyopia is a condition when, though we are not able to find a organic cause for the reduction in the vision, there is no refractive error, or there is a refractive error which is not resembling the reduced vision. It happens very early in the age when due to when the brain is unable to get a clear image. So brain is not trained to see a clear image. If due to any cause in childhood, the vision is lost or the vision is not very much accurate for the brains tend to forget how a clear picture is seen. So that is sort of known as amblyopia. So it's very important to get your child checked up and worked up during the childhood, so that if these conditions are there, they can be rectified then and there, so that the brain continuously gets a clear image and gets trained to see clearly. So sometimes what happens is there are different refractive error, different condition in both the eyes. One eye is strong or dominant, other eye becomes lazy or weak because due to some errors, the one eye is not able to see very as clearly as the right eye. So in that case, the weaker eye continues to remain weaker, and in adulthood, no matter what we do, we are unable to bring up this eye to the dominant eye level. So that is why it's known as amblyopia. Astigmatism. Astigmatism is a condition where the number is cylindrical and almost induced by the shape of the cornea. Cornea is the black portion. I was telling the frontmost lens, that is their natural lens. It's the cornea, transparent structure. So it's actually not a round structure. It's slightly oval. If it's more oval, it will give a cylindrical number, and it has to be corrected with glasses. So the glasses which have an axis built into it, as commonly seen, it's to correct astigmatism. Strabismus is squint. So our eyeballs are aligned so that both the images from both eyes are overlapping, and we could see a three-dimensional image. If due to any imbalance in the muscle, this alignment is disturbed, we have deviation of the eyes. So this is also many a time resulting amblyopia. Like the brain focuses on the dominant eye, and the non-dominant eye, or the eye which is weak, which doesn't provide very clear vision, sorts of deviates, and then you can see both eyes are deviated. Other causes are congenital or traumatic due to some trauma. There is a squint in the eye, there is an imbalance between the both the eyes, and then brain doesn't get a very clear image. So the causes, if at all you see any deviation in the eye, if you see the eye is not correctly aligned, it is very important to get a checkup to know the reason and what correction it is required. Droopy eyes, ptosis, we call it ptosis. It's the difference in the aperture of both the eyes. So one eye appears bigger, one eye appears less smaller, or is not opening well. So apart from cosmetic issues, the medical issue is the eyelid sorts of cover the pupillary area, which is the path of light from outside to the retina. So if at all the lids are covering that light pathway, so again there is a chance of developing a lazy eye or amblyopia, because the brain is not able to get a clear image from this eye. So if it happens congenitally from birth, it has to be corrected so that in future the vision remains normal. So coming to next corneal issues is corneal ulcers. Ulcers, as in anywhere other in the body, it's an open sore on the cornea. So again, the thin transparent outermost layer, which is exposed to the environment. If there is an injury, there is an open source, and it might get infected with bacteria, virus, fungus, and other parasitic organisms. So it leads to opacification of the cornea, and again an obstruction in the light pathway, and resulting in loss of vision. So medical treatment is done by identifying the organism and treating it accordingly. And if at all some organisms are resistant or not responsive to the medication, surgical treatment are also required to correct these ulcers. Conjunctivitis, as everyone knows with the name of pink eye flu. These are common redness of eye with watering, itchiness, feeling of grittiness in the eye. So they are most commonly caused by viral infections or bacterial infections. So again, lid hygiene, good hygiene practices are very important to stop the spread of this infection among family members and friends. And timely treatment is required so that it doesn't progress into corneal infections, and it could be a problem and situation. So next, coming to another adult disease, which is cataract. So cataract happens in the natural crystalline lens. So as we age, the natural crystalline lens becomes cloudy and white because the protein fibers, they pacify and this leads to again loss of vision, because the light pathway from the cornea is clear, transparent lens now to the retina. So there are, apart from age, there are causes like eye injury, some sort of medication, specifically steroid treatments, which leads to cataract development. So the most common complaint, the problem that a person with cataract has is blurred vision. Then you can see halos around the light source. You can see colored halos. You can see glare from the light. You might have faded views of colors. So those are the initial symptoms of cataract. So cataract cannot be treated by any medication, and there has to be a surgery for it. It's a very simple surgery these days with all the sophistications that we have. We remove the natural crystalline lens and replace it with an artificial lens. So it's known as an intraocular lens. These are foldable lenses. So with a very minute 1.8 millimeter incision, so we can just by a needle liquefy the natural lens, take it out and replace it with a foldable lens inside the eye. So these days, the surgery is done under topical anesthesia. We don't give any injections, or we don't give general anesthesia. You don't need to be sedated for hours and hours. It's almost like a day care procedure these days. And it's a very, very safe procedure with all the sophistication that we have these days. And we should not delay the cataract surgery because there is no medical treatment for cataract surgery as on date. Another issue that is there is glaucoma. Glaucoma is, as in normal language, we call it kala mutya. So glaucoma is basically a disease of optic nerve and happens due to increase in the intraocular pressure. So our eyeball shape is maintained due to aqueous humor and vitreous humor. These are two liquids that are inside the eye, and their secretion, the aqueous humor secretion, is very well maintained by a production and a drainage pathway. So if at all there is an increased production of the aqueous humor or reduction in the drainage due to blockage of the drainage pathway due to any reason, the intraocular pressure sort of rises. So if at all there is an increase in the intraocular pressure, it affects the optic nerve, and our optic nerve largely, the nerve cells, the ganglion cells inside the optic nerve, they start to degenerate. So the specific symptom of optic nerve degeneration due to glaucoma is field loss. Like a field is particularly, like if I'm talking to you, I still can see if there is somebody standing on the side or if there's somebody sitting there. So that's called as field of vision. In glaucoma, the field of vision gets narrowed. So these are, it's an irreversible disease. So it is very important to pick up this disease very early when there is minimal loss in the field, so that medications can be given to reduce the intraocular pressure. These are eye drops, and so that the loss of field of vision can be prevented. So during your checkup, you would be having a vision field test, a tonometry, which is measurement of your eye pressure, gonioscopy. This is a test which tells us the drainage pathway. So if it's fully open or if it's closed, whether drainage is happening properly or not. In some people, if the drainage pathway is not very much efficient, we create an additional opening with the help of laser, so that the aqueous is drained properly and the pressure could be controlled. So these are the multiple tests that are done to assess what kind of glaucoma you have, what are the medications are required, and how is the progress of the disease with the medication, if you need any other medications, or how many medications are required for the treatment. So in very, very less cases where the pressures are not getting controlled with the medication, a filtering surgery is required. There are different types of surgeries that are there, but these are reserved for very advanced cases and specifically cases where the medications are not able to handle the pressure. Another problem that occurs in the retina is related macular degeneration. Macula is the centermost part of the retina, which is the most important part, where maximum fibers are there to assess to visualize the image. So there are many reasons: diabetes, hypertension, and mostly smoking, obesity. These are the risk factors which predispose a person to age-related macular degeneration. The central glaucoma, we were worried about the peripheral vision, the field of vision. Age-related macular degeneration effectively the central vision. So that's why it's very important, if you have any problem in the central vision, where if you are unable to focus, you get it thoroughly checked. And there are a number of tests that are done. One is it's known as OCT. It's an optical coherence tomography. So if you see on this page, this is the normal. Okay. Another morbidity is diabetic retinopathy. So it is a complication of long-standing diabetes, and it is caused by the damage to blood vessels of the retina due to diabetes. There are abnormal vessels that develop inside the retina, and they tend to bleed with time, causing edema in the retina and hemorrhage, so which causes vision loss. So if you can see in the left, it's the normal picture, and if you are seeing these kind of floaters in the eye, this could be an earlier sign of diabetic retinopathy. An uncontrolled diabetes for a long time is a risk factor for diabetic retinopathy. Some of the symptoms of diabetic retinopathy is floaters, blurred vision, fluctuation of vision. So some days you feel that your vision is good, some days you feel that the vision has gone bad, your color vision is impaired, or you see dark or empty areas in the visual field. So that is could be an initial signs of diabetic retinopathy. Strict control of diabetes is very important to delay the progression of diabetes, along with treatment which are lasers and some injections to control the swelling in the retina. So coming to the day-to-day issues, eye strain, digital eye strain. This is a term that is used to describe a group of symptoms that occurs after extended use of digital devices, spending long terms on computer. So these eye strain make your working very uncomfortable. So the signs and symptoms of eye strain could be blurred vision, redness, watering from the eyes, eye irritation, headache, eye strain, pain around the eyebrows, feeling difficulty to focus. So these are some of the symptoms of digital eye strain, and this is a normal percentage of how prevalent it's digital eye strain in people with different devices. Smartphone is among the highest these days, and it affects the quality of vision, as you can have difficulty in reading, and you can have difficulty in daily work once you are out of your laptop or desktop. So the tips to prevent these kind of digital eye strain is maintaining proper distance from the screen. The bigger the screen, the better. And you have to make sure that you seat your laptop or desktop screen in such a way so that the monitor is at the eye level or below the eye level. It should not be. You should not be looking up at the monitor while you're working. So second 2020 rule. This is a very important thing that we all can do to prevent eye strain. Every 20 minutes, you have to take your eyes away from the your screen and blink 20 times. So that is a 20-20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, look 20 feet away and blink 20 times. So even if you are in a small room, just removing your eyes from the screen, looking at a distance and blinking 20 times would help reduce your eye strain. So taking frequent breaks, blink often, consciously blink often while you are working is an important way to reduce the digital eye strain at the end of the day. You should get your eyes regularly checked up by a trained ophthalmologist. There are different things that we check while during a routine exam. First is a visual acuity, your reflective error power, your visual field, what is your visual field. Then we do a slit lamp examination. It's this kind of machine. So it's a sort of a microscope where we see your different layers of the eye, and if at all there is any abnormality, it can be picked up, which before the symptoms even occur. So a dilation is required to do a retina exam. So we put some drops in the eye, and then we see at the back of the eye, the retina, how the vessels are there, what is the status of the optic nerve. We do an intraocular pressure check. So that is to rule out glaucoma and to assess the progression if you have. So right from birth, it's very important that every child in the preschool age group, 3 to 5 years, should get at least one comprehensive, complete eye checkup, so that any congenital or by birth visual defects can be assessed, and it can, if it requires correction, should be corrected. In adults, it's very important you should get eye checkups every couple of years. So as a rule, every 5 to 10 years till you achieve 30 years of age. After that, every 2 to 4 years till you are around 50. After that 50, you should have an eye checkup at least every year once. So even if you don't feel any problem with the eye, so that any signs of age-related issues can be picked up early. So uh, apart from all these regular eye checkups, it is very important that you should pledge your corneas. So, and you should make aware your relatives and near and dear ones that you have a desire to donate your eyes after your death. So this is very important because your corneas could give life to two persons. So generally, both of the corneas can be implanted in two different person, and two blind people can gain vision after your death. So it is very important to help to make your near and dear ones aware of your this feeling, and you should pledge your eyes so that some blind people can see after you are gone. Thank you very much.